EVs are going to crash the grid, you guys. Everything's going to be dark and gray and sometimes browning out. That's just a fact of life. As more EVs hit the road, wait a second, I guess it's not true. I keep seeing these reports that as more EVs continue to roll out, as long as the grid gets its battery fix, it actually works out okay. I've got stories here from California and from Texas so that my coastal friends and my red friends as well can take pride in their state doing well. I've got Randy Kirk here, who takes pride in me doing well, especially when I write a chapter for a best-selling book. We will talk about that in a moment. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So Randy, what's this book thing that I participated in?
Well, we were sitting around talking about this and that, and somebody said something that there was this AI thing happening. It seemed like it was important. I see headlines about it and stuff, and we were talking a lot about the various aspects of the stack. And then one night, I heard on I think it was on the what do you call it?
The three ghosts who came to visit you.
I think it was the Moonshot podcast. And they
Oh,
said, you have to, if you want to be in the business, if you want to be one of the top guys in the AI business, you're going to have control over the whole stack. And I went, wait, only one person's in control of the whole stack. That's Elon Musk. Sounds like a book to me.
and then you said, wait, you know who knows a lot about full stack? Brian. He worked at IHOP where they sell short stacks, full stacks, you name it.
I know. So I said, that must be the chapter. And then this morning, somebody recognized you in a review, and they said,
Yeah.
and Brian's chapter, of course, he was funny. Duh. It wasn't exact.
Yeah.
That's not exact words.
I think they said, which is a given.
Which is a given. There you go.
Something like that.
It's the same as duh.
Yeah, I'll take it. So guys, if you want to know a little bit more about AI and you're looking for that perfect stocking stuffer, you can get the book. Link is in the description. Did you know, Randy, that California used to have rolling blackouts, brownouts? Were you subject to them where you live in California?
Actually, Riverside has its own system. And when I lived in West LA for how long did I live in West LA? 50 years. When I lived in West LA, no, we had maybe a couple over the years. Those were mostly, I think, in the valleys, like San Gabriel, San Fernando. But I know that they were happening because, we'd hear about it.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that California investing big in battery and energy storage leaves rolling blackouts behind. California hasn't issued an emergency plea for the public to conserve energy, known as a flex alert, since 2022. Wow. Experts credit much of the progress to a surge in battery energy storage systems in recent years, and battery storage in California has grown more than 3,000%, which is meaningless because they had almost none prior to 2020. So, did you know that batteries can do this, Randy?
Yeah. There's going back to the book. There's an entire set, but it's not just these big grid, the massive numbers of batteries, in these utility situations. But California was maybe the first place to have the virtual power plants. Where you hook up your
residential power walls. Yep.
Yes, you hook them up to everybody else's, and when they need a surge, they can just draw from you and pay you a couple of bucks. Yeah. And I know people that made a few $100 off of this thing.
Yeah, it's a great. They've got. California's really taking an all of the above approach. They have grid scale energy storage, but they also have residential storage that can feed back to the grid. They also allow residential storage for your own use. And if the gods smile upon you, you may be permitted to connect your solar panels. I'm told it's a whole thing there. That's something you guys need to work on. Not you, Randy. I know you know. But I've seen a number of high-profile celebrities saying,
yes,
what's going on?
Yes.
And that's frustrating. By the way, at the bottom here, you are seeing this message because you're using an ad blocker. Guys, use ad blockers. Please. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It makes the web simply better. Yeah, so not to get too high and mighty on just California, I see a lot of people who just hate on California. People who've never been there. Um, let's give some love to Texas. Solar and batteries had a record-setting, grid-stabilizing summer in Texas. Solar has set 17 power generation records in Texas so far this year, shoring up the grid alongside batteries as some gas plant developers step back.
Texas has decided to become, obviously they've been a leader in energy for generations. California and Texas commonly, having that go back and forth in terms of who was generating the most gas and the most oil. But Texas made a decision a few years ago. They're like, no, we're going to be the energy capital from now on, and we're all of the above. Nuclear, they're the number one, I think, in wind. They might be the number one in solar. They're probably getting very close to being number one in battery storage. They are already they've already contracted for nuclear, so they're all about all of the above, and they're yeah, it's really successful.
Absolutely true on all accounts. They are number one in wind, and it's not even close. If you look at the, I've have been fortunate enough to drive across this beautiful nation a number of times. On the trip last summer, we saw wind farms forever, just all the time. Because once you cross the Rockies, you're in wind country. Uh, in Texas, when you drive from Austin down to Brownsville, which you should, unless you can fly, in which case you should, because it's a long drive with not much to look at apart from endless wind farms.
Yeah.
And I know there are people who've said, oh, but they're ugly. I disagree. I think there's something to look at. I think they look great. Uh, but if you don't like them, stop using power because every form of power has a drawback or two.
I think oil derricks are much prettier than those wind towers. Yeah.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. Especially the one in the out in the football field at Beverly Hills High School, which by the way is a thing. They do have
Oh
an
no,
oil derrick.
absolutely, 100%. I lived just off of La Brea Canyon Road in West LA for many, many, many years, and there's a whole section over there that's slowly but surely going to be converted into a park. But it's just derrick. You've seen it in movies over and over because they always use this. It was a few blocks from my home. I'm talking about miles of derricks. Yeah.
So this big one here is the actual oil derrick at Beverly Hills
Okay.
in the middle of La Cienega.
Right.
Uh yeah, and got to make them look nice. Here you go. That's an even better one. These are oil derricks in the middle of town. And by the way, do you know what La Brea translates to in English?
I should.
The tar pits. So
Oh,
what the real name is the tar pits, tar
Paul
pits.
Pitts.
Yeah, so that's helpful. Easy way to remember how to translate it is we also just say it in both languages. It's
Yes.
like reading a candy wrapper from Canada. It's got the French right on it.
Yeah.
Real help. People think Texas is just oil country. We're all about oil. They're energy guys. When oil was getting a little quieter, they went natural gas because we're energy. Then they saw wind coming. They got on wind big time. And now solar as well. Texas is, hustling, kicking butt, taking names, and they're, you know, doing great. January 24th, solar generated 22.1 gigawatts of power, steadily rising. Um, and yeah, they're still going. Which meanwhile, natural gas is failing to meet the moment. Texas developers have proposed building more than 100 new gas power plants in the next few years to meet rising demand from data centers and heavy industry. State created a $7.2 billion loan program to incentivize gas plant production, but more than 2 years after the fund was launched, just two facilities have been approved
Oh,
for only 321 million in loans. Developers pulled another 7 projects from consideration, citing high costs and supply chain challenges. Yeah, do you know those turbines are in kind of short supply?
yeah, yeah.
Data
Anecdotally, it sounds like Texas is, they get big and they get all of a sudden the regulations start coming in and they try to stop progress. But overall, Texas, I think, still has the reputation for wanting to get these things done.
Yes, that is my impression as well. I would be welcoming anyone else saying in the comments. Otherwise, if they know better or if we're right, I mean, just let us know because you never call, you never write. Let us know in those comments. So the thing I would say is that I still see comments from people who refuse to believe that green energy is real, who will say the sun don't shine at night, which, while true, ignores the fact that people generally sleep at night. You don't necessarily need as much power during those hours, and that you cannot stabilize the grid. I had one gentleman tell me with a straight face, I assume, that renewables will never work unless you could have 6 months of storage.
Hmm.
6 months, so that there's
Wow.
no wind and no sun for 6 months. And I said, that is shockingly naive or
I think it,
dishonest or both.
I think the greenest person on the planet, if they have any brains, would know that you're going to have some kind of bio backup, some
Yep.
kind of.
A gas, yeah, a turbine.
I
Yeah.
prefer nuclear eventually, but if it has to be gas for now, great. It's you want to have there's going to be that crisis, there's going to be that day, but for the most part, no, it works.
Well, nuclear doesn't dispatch as well. It takes time to ramp it up and then ramp it back down. Hydro can be dispatched more quickly. And the beauty with hydro generation is every megawatt that I don't produce today can remain behind the dam to produce tomorrow. And there are some limits to that. Obviously, you can't go over capacity. Uh, but then at the same time, if you find that you're producing less and less power, you can potentially divert that water to agricultural or other uses, which is also a good thing. But having it say, look, guys, sorry, bad news. This one particular water thirsty crop is going to have to go bad because we don't have enough power. That's something you can address. That's something you can mitigate. You can just buy the crop and say sorry, and everyone's made whole. And people, I mean, there's just so many solutions that don't involve uh, ignoring the obvious.
True.
Last thing I wanted to, yes, go ahead.
I just said true story.
True story. Last thing I wanted to touch on, because this is just doesn't fit anywhere else. Tesla released detailed safety report after Waymo co-CEO called for more data. So here's the deal, Randy. I don't trust you. I hear you making these claims and I don't believe you. And you turn around and say, all right, well, here's the report.
Here's the facts.
Yeah. Do you want the data? Because we have the data.
Yeah.
Uh, wouldn't it be nice if we could have this level of data, this granularity for all operation of vehicles? We don't know what the actual incident rate is among human driven cars. We only know if it results in like an insurance claim or a costly repair. But if a Waymo or a robotaxi um, just barely nudges into the back of my car at a stoplight, it's recorded, it's documented.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone in traffic nudge someone else. They get out and look at it and go, nah, and drive off. Nah, it's fine. So, yeah, isn't any takeaways on this story that I just sprung on you without context?
So generally speaking, I would only go a little further than what you just said, and that the details are great. But when you even ask Grok will go, the data that we have from the other side is so limited. And it's not just limited in the way that you just described, but it's even limited with regard to accidents that do cause a significant damage if the cops aren't called,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes they aren't. I mean, I've had accidents where there's been real damage, and in fact, I think I just had about 9 years ago. I This lady hit me, and we didn't call the cops. We just exchanged numbers, and there you go.
Yeah, I
So
got your insurance info. We'll sort this out. We
yeah,
don't need to waste
right. Or
paperwork.
sometimes you think, oh, that's only $500 worth of damage. I don't want to turn it in.
Yeah.
So there's a million of them like that just don't get reported. I was trying to figure out in my own head how many little minor scrapes I might have per year or per decade or whatever. And I figured that maybe I have a minor scrape either caused by somebody else or caused by me about every 3 years.
That doesn't seem unreasonable. When I was commuting, now I'm probably doing about the same miles as I was when I was commuting, but mine are very easy highway nowhere miles. But driving around town, parking all over the place. And that was also back before, backup cameras. Even the U-Haul I rented last week had a backup camera, made it a lot nicer. About time. Thank you, U-Haul, for that. Um, yeah. So this is also the last thing I'll share on this because it's ridiculous. Tesla has been releasing vehicle safety reports on a quarterly basis for a while, but those reports have been repeatedly panned for being insufficient. May I see the data from every other manufacturer, please? Because they don't have it. I would call that insufficient.
I agree. I agree. It was panned because it was almost all highway miles. This is back in the day, as
Mm.
they say. Now that they have tons and tons of city data, then it's appropriate to start putting it up.
Makes sense to me. It was also, yeah, there were other things that they were complaining. Oh, the other one I love is they go, well, you know that if Tesla knows it's going to be in an accident, it says, no, you take over, and then it doesn't get dinged for it. That's not true. That's not true. You have 5 seconds of warning before, if an accident happens, fewer than 5 seconds after you're told to take over, it's
Mhm.
on you.
That's right.
At highway speeds, that's more than the length of a football field, depending on the speed limit.
Right, right, right.
So if Tesla knew, if your car knew it was going to be in an accident that far down the road, it would just apply the brakes. You ding dong. So think it through. I don't know. It feels like too many people don't think it through, Randy.
Oh no,
And
you would never want to suggest that on live video. Well, it's not
oh
live.
my gosh,
You know,
what have I
we're
done?
going to publish this, and you think that people don't always think it through.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy talk. How dare I? The nerve.
I would just
Guys,
like
what are,
it. I would just
yes.
like it if the print media would think it through.
Well, that's not their job. Their job is to get eyeballs on stories so they can move ads. That's it. That's the job. Uh and news is under attack. It is dying. It is under attack from all sides, both socially, politically, but most of all financially. They just can't sell the ads the way they used to, and that will soon be the death of them. It's unfortunate, but times change, and I think the way the newspapers abuse their classifieds monopoly is reason enough that they deserve to go down, because $100 for an ad this big to sell an old Nissan, you gotta be kidding me. So guys, in the comments, what did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it. Leave it. Everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots. I guess after Thanksgiving? I don't know. Wait, is today Thanksgiving? Let me look at my publication schedule. Today? No. Yeah. Wait. No, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Do have a wonderful, and tell your turkey to stay juicy.